also Felix Sekedi, also first of all giving and granting permission also for Uganda also to go and carry out operations in DRC, and that was the genesis, and the fact that also they did put an end also in reducing the numbers and attacks of also the ADF in there, because the previous maybe predecessors didn't give him the chance to also enter DRC in there. But when the head of state also DRC also gave him the chance now to enter what we call the DRC in the parts of the forest, that was also where the success began. But now we are still seeing more of these attacks going on. We are still seeing more of these numbers emerging and more arrests being carried out. And when shall we be able to see that these people are dealt with once and for all? Because this is what we want to see. At the end of the day, we want to see this matter first of all be addressed. Because if at all this is not addressed, then definitely we may continue to see more of these attacks going on, and more of these issues also continue to happen in the country. But really, how can we be able to also ensure that this matter, first of all, of the ADF is first of all kicked off? Because if at all this does not happen, and then definitely we may be able to see also these bomb attacks. Because recently, if you remember what happened in Kampala during the twin bombs, also maybe in 2010, we just did see a lot of these attacks going on, which was also put on Al-Shabaab. And now we did also see maybe these bombs that recently happened in Kampala, where also so many people also became scared in there. And this was also said to be the ADF. And in 2021, the Ugandan army launched a joint operation with the military in Congo's east also area to also try to also defeat the insurgents in there. And this is also something where we did see following in one of also its most deadly attacks. The group was also already blamed for November 2021 triple suicide bombing that is in the Kampala capital, which killed 7 people, including the bombers themselves in there. But really, how can we ensure an end to this matter that we continue to talk about? Because really, this is a matter which has already become maybe an issue of security, which must, in my own opinion, must be addressed, because we want to see an end. That is to also the ADF in there, because we have often talked about the ADF. Really, that is also something we want to talk about. And now, leaving that aside, let's look at what is happening. That is in Kajansi, where a serial killer has been netted. That's in Ruchiga district, and that is something we didn't see happening. And this is also where we did see a 32-year-old man, a Muchiga by tribe, also a driver by profession, has been arrested. That is also at his ancestral home. That is also Bukinda sub-county in Ruchiga district, on allegations of being a member that is of a gang involved that is in the kidnapping and murder of young girls in Kajansi, also in Kampala. In the Kigezi regional police spokesperson, that is Mr. Eli Mate, identified the suspect as Isaac Niwagaba, adding that also the suspect has been identified and has been blamed for carrying out operations that's also in areas also in there, and he is still a suspect. And also we are going to be seeing now him be arrested. That's also be paraded in the courts of law. This will following also an efforts that have combined security forces who actually detected him, and from where he was netted, that is in Ruchiga district. And that's also led also to that's also information that is only from also that's maybe after it was obtained from Kajansi. And Mr. Matai added that the suspect, together with his colleagues still at large, have been disguising themselves as taxi operators, and after also seducing young girls to enter their taxis, they will strangle them and also thereafter dump their bodies in the nearby bushes within Kampala. And that's also where he was arrested for. And the area LC1, Mr. Bernard Tumushema, said the local residents were surprised also to learn that Niwagaba was involved in such high-profile criminals activities, and saying he was always humble while in the village. And that's why we are saying the young girls must ensure their security first, because sometimes these are bad people who have ill intentions target these young girls, and they take advantage of them, because sometimes we have also seen our young girls wanting very free things. And this is where we are saying you must ensure you avoid wanting free things, and this is where you may be able to be taken advantage of. And that is what summarizes that discussions with. And this is still the Kokoliriko live show on Western Television. We already into the hour of 8. That also means that we come to the end of our first hour, but we still have another hour where we are going to be talking and discussing several issues here and there with you. And this is where we are saying you must also stay locked. That is to Western Television. For those of you watching us right this morning, we say a very good morning to you. But for now, let's have this short commercial breather, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grass Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back into our second hour. We are just 4 minutes after 8 o'clock, which is our final and second hour, and that is also really a reason as to why we say stay tuned and also continue watching Western television, because this is also really where we are going to be letting you know so many stories. And we started discussions with so many issues right from Western sub-region, where we did talk about the launch of that is the road that connects, that is Koboko to Yumbe, and also really now that this road is going to be developed, and so many people are actually excited about the same road. And that is why we are saying that road also must be constructed, and the works must also commence as soon as possible, and the contractor also must ensure that they do the works that is within the stipulated period of time, because sometimes also we see these people being given the contracts but they take long, and that is already what we do not want to see, because if at all this continues to happen, definitely we are going to be seeing so many of these issues continuing to unfold. And that is why we also already saying, as we bounce back in our second hour, we still have lots more for you. And now to begin of our second hour with, we still have lots more prepared for you, and that is what we are here to do for you each and every mornings. That is from Mondays to Fridays, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and ready we are into our second hour. And without wasting any time, now let's look at some of the stories. And remember, the pilgrims are still on their way, and really we also continue to have them in our prayers, and that is also really as they are on their way to Kampala. And yesterday we did also see so many games happening, and that is already where I must remind, I will be giving you details of maybe some of the games that did transpire over the weekend. And I must remember, and I must inform you that also the regional playoffs also did also unfold yesterday, and now the winner of Western region is actually known, and they will be also taking, that is also the winners of the other regions, that's Northern Uganda. And that's really where we also want to say we are going to be keeping you informed, and maybe at the end of the day which team will be able to be representing West Nile, that is in the for big league in there, will also be unfolded in as well in there. That is why we are saying let's also really continue watching Western television, because in the evening of the hour, maybe evening of the show, that is also already as we get to the climax, that is when I will be reminding you of some of the games that did transpire in there. But for now, let's also see what is now happening elsewhere. And earlier on we were talking about the accident where 7 people perished in the accident, and we also did talk about Matthias Ipuga, and this is something that where we did see the fights of where exactly is going to. And we also talked about ADF, and this is only where a suspected ADF also really man was arrested in there. And this is also something where we are saying people must ensure that there's vigilance amongst themselves, and they must also ensure that people who reside amongst them are people who are actually known. And now to begin off the second hour with, let's also now go, that is to Lango sub-region, where the Lango chiefdom is to design unique custom also really attire for the clan leaders also really in there. And that's really something where we also want now to start off the discussions in the second hour with, and the Lango paramount chief elect, that's engineer Dr. Mike Michael Moses Odongo Okune has also already announced that his administration is in the process of also already designing a unique custom. This is the attire, first of the cloth for all its clan leaders, and I must say this is quite well, because first of all, this is going to act as a form of identity, and people are going to be knowing actually who exactly the leader is, and this is also simply through the dress. And remember, tomorrow is actually World Culture Day, and this is already where we are saying definitely they must also ensure that these dresses are now also maybe unveiled on such days, and such days also really must be honored, because if you really see what is happening, really that is already where we are saying midst also our different tribes, we are still having several cultures which is already that's already in the country, and that's really somewhere sometimes where some kind of cultures are now being taken to be tribes, and that's really where the constitution also recognizes them. If you really look at maybe some of the cultures which was already said to be cultures, now today the constitution is recognizing them as part of the country, and for instance, really notable among those is actually the Nubi culture, which is now being recognized also in there. And this is where we are saying that traditional attires will be worn by clan leaders during also all public events and public gatherings, and this is really where we want to see the leaders be differentiated from the ordinary people, because if you are a culture leader, definitely we are going to be also expecting you first of all to dress in that attire, which to me is actually the way to go, because we want to separate these leaders from what we call the commoners. Because if you are maybe a leader, you're not a commoner, and that's why we also saying you must also ensure that you dress in these attires, and while addressing waves of this less cases of domestic violence, because sometimes really you see where these domestic violence cases emerge. If you move to maybe some of these entities where these cases are handled, you'll be able to realize that the fights also really emerge after the women accusing the men of not wanting to perform their duties. But if somebody is empowered, if somebody is working, definitely they wouldn't also really want to rely on support that is from the women, and that is why we are saying this program also to call upon this board first of all to embrace what we call the poverty elevation drives is really the way to go, as Miss Joy Otim Ongo, that is the former leader, this woman member of parliament at the facility of the training, called upon the women also to maintain good hygiene in their homes, which is also to avoid diseases, which at the end of the day, which to me is quite well. Another facility, that's Miss Hope Rachel Atim from Uganda Health Activity, warned against early marriages, which also affects, that is the health of young girls, and he urged them also to keep in doing other things, and that's also, for instance, keeping in school, which to me also wouldn't also be very, very much bad, because we want to see the young girls, I don't know, they also becoming first of all educated, such that solely they did not also maybe also get to also maybe rely on help from other men, and that is why we are saying that is quite well as we get to move away from that story. And remember also already so many issues continue to happen and unfold, and that we will be able to already giving you those. That's exactly on Western Television Kokoliriko live show here. But now let's look at some of the stories happening elsewhere. This is already where the Katanga mother is happening, where the widow is awaiting to get bail. That is for the second time after the first one also failed in there, and this is only something we did see. And if you remember, on May 21st, also the Molly Katanga that's into Luzira prison room, equipped also with a video link to the High Court, that's in Kampala, where she would also be watching also Justice Isaac Mwata, whether to determine whether she can also temporarily return home. That is after granting her bail, who are also already being identified as Patricia Kakwenza and Martha Nkwanzi in there, as well as the medical doctor who was also first responded to the crime scene, that is Charles Otai, and former domestic worker, that's George Amanyire, in the connection to her mother's alleged mother, that's connection to her husband's alleged murder in the story. And this is something also we did see happening in the last month. Miss Katanga's attempt also to secure bail for proper medical care was rejected by court, also really, where she was also really returned back to prison, and she has also been reportedly missed several medical appointments, and that's only according to information we did see. That is from her after also really, she reportedly also missed several medical appointments. That is since she has been on remand. That's Luzira. And Miss Katanga, whom doctors say has undergone 5 surgeries, asserts also through also her lawyers that her medical condition requires specialized treatment, not even available in Luzira prison, where she is also already confined in there. That's also something we did see, where the businessman's mother started also the public debate, with many condemning also the Molly and dismissing also the reports of her severe scalp and head injuries from an alleged domestic brawl on the day her husband also died, as mere excuses in there. But really, how do you murder your husband? Really, sometimes this is really where it becomes nagging, because this is somebody with whom you have children, and I believe you also started your family in, and you have stayed for quite a long period of time. and you just want to also really do what we call murder in there, and something which is really against the law. And this is why we are saying people must ensure that if at all the marriage is not working, it's better for you to file divorce. It's maybe better for you to also really move away from this marriage, and rather than also really wanting to murder, because this is quite unfortunate. And this is where we are saying if at all the marriages are not working, definitely you need to move out. And this is also, I believe, it should also be after several considerations, maybe through intervention of the religious leaders, maybe through intervention of family members. If at all this fail, then definitely you have no option rather to move away from the marriages. And this is why we are saying people must get married for the right reasons, because if you will see what happens, definitely I must say the marriages that we are there did not also really, we are not like how they are today. And today we are seeing so many divorce cases being filed, and I don't know what that means, but really this is only why we are saying people must ensure that first of all they get married for the right reasons and to the right people whom they love, so that also we do not also get such issues where people want to marry is also being attributed to wealth. And this is why we are saying the wife also was accused of hiding in hospital and faking illness and injuries before medical reports made public also through the court proceedings indicated otherwise. And this is why we also something which also they brought doubts about Katanga's health condition, likely also explained in the startling incident where also the police officers stormed an operating theater during also the fifth medical procedure in the Brazilian also intervention, also followed also other alleged forceful entries into hospital facilities by law enforcement and prosecution of other teams in there. This is something also we did see happening, where the officers were also reportedly repelled by doctors over their clients also the right to privacy in there, which also was being violated amid also reported intense pressures on medical staff in there. And this is something we did see happening. And earlier this month, Ms. Katanga reapplied for bail, citing her deteriorating health, and that's also where we did see Luzira Prison also stated it cannot be able to handle her numerous also health concerns, and that's only including that's trauma, as she suffered also on a fateful day after the mother of the husband, and that's also maybe after the death of the father, resulting in what we call multiple brain surgeries in there. And through her legal team, that is from Kampala Associated Advocates and to Musime Kabega and Kampala Advocates, she informed also the High Court that she also suffers hypertension, vertigo also resulting what we call tissue injury in there. And this is something also we are saying people also must ensure that these issues also that we are mentioning do not also continue to happen in there. And that is already adding day something that to me wouldn't be quite well. And moving on from that, let's now see what is happening in Kampala, where the executive director of KCA, that's Dorothy Chaka, also expressed dissatisfaction over the slow progress of what we call the city roads in there. And this is something I must also remind you of as we going to continue with the show this early morning, where the executive director, that's Kampala Capital City Authority, Ms. Dorothy Chaka, has expressed disappointment with the slow progress of the project being carried out by also the Kokoliriko Construction, a Japanese company also the contract to upgrade selected city junctions. That's the city also the signal junctions, and also in Kampala in there. And during an inspection at Mulago and Kubiri roundabouts, Ms. Dorothy Chaka also along with junior engineer Dr. Luimbazi, also other KCA staff emphasized need that's also for what we call for faster results, and suggested also the development of the road also not to delay. And this is where we also calling upon the contractors must also ensure that they do the work day and night, because if you really see what is happening with the road, sometimes the projects take more than also the stipulated period of time, because a contractor may ask for 2 years, but in most cases we see the projects stretching up to 4 years, which is really quite unfortunate. And the project we are talking about also aims to signalize 27 junctions, that's also and remove 5 roundabouts at a cost of that 78 billion, and is being supported also by the Japanese International Corporation Company, and also agency, and also which is abbreviated as JICA, and is also intended to address the city's also the traffic congestion issues there. Because if you really see what is happening in Kampala, we have also been seeing also most of the roads becoming highly congested in there, and I believe also the traffic lights is actually the way to go in terms of addressing such issues. And Mr. Chaka urged the contractor also to clear debris and also the garbage also from the sites, and also to ensure the completion of the project by the deadline of that is also April 2025 in there. And this is something also I must remind the contractors of, because definitely we are seeing so many of these government projects today taking more time than what the contractors ask for. I don't know, you also really suffering maybe issues that maybe your future, and that's where we may not be able to see you progress to your future. And that is why we are saying youth must also be, first of all, reliable, such that also we get to depend on them. And that is why Musasi was also making that call in them. Mr. Musasi was on Saturday addressing youth leaders from Rubanda district during the annual convention that's at St. John's Kikumba Secondary School, where he actually did make this plea in there. He emphasized the importance of being consistent, trusted and reliable and dependable in order to achieve success in life, and also really advise the youth to avoid mixing politics with religion. And that's why we are saying also the people must separate the two and leave also what belongs to job. And this is why we are saying those who are interested in politics must ensure that they are in politics, and those who want religion must ensure they also focus on spiritual work in there, so that also we do not have clashes and also the other issues in there. Mr. Musasi also encouraged them to invest in long-term development plans and support also their parents in implementing government programs for wealth creation in there. And she also, that is also where we did see Mr. also Musasi also making that call in that. The Rubanda district chairman, Mr. Stephen Ampeire Kasiaba, also urged also the youth who did not also have the opportunity to continue formal education to enroll for skills development at the presidential skilling stabs established that is across the country, because we have seen the government of Uganda establishing several of these, but really the concern also becomes that is also in the enrollment, because we have seen so many youths now becoming actively interested in joining, also in wanting to join these also skilling hubs, but the numbers given to these districts is also quite low. And that is why we are saying people also they must ensure that the numbers, first of all, given to these various local governments is increased, so that also more of these youths can be able to enroll for the group at CAM 2026. And this is where we did see hundreds of supporters, that's of Forum for Democratic Change Party in the whole district, have abandoned their party president, that is also Patrick Ambureto Boy, and endorsed UPC's also Jimmy Akena for the son of Obote as the party presidential candidate, and this is also as their potential candidate. That's also in the 2026 general elections, and that's something we did see dozens of the FDC influential leaders and a section of also supporters of the ruling government who have also surrendered their party t-shirts, party cards, and also defected that to the Akena also led UPC party congress in there. And this is also something we did see happening in there. Remember also, if we are to talk about UPC in also in Lango sub-region, definitely you'll be able to know that this area is still a stronghold that is of the UPC party, given the fact that also we did see the leaders also coming out from there, more so the founder, that is also Obote coming in from there. And up to date, we have seen the party remain relevant in that area, and could that be the reason? Definitely I don't know, but we are saying the defector claim it is also the Congress party that will deliver them into the promised land. But this is something we have also seen, maybe people who are defecting more, so those people, the supporters also often saying it is this party that can be able to lead them to maybe the final journey, because we have seen recently a party that is also the former party president for FDC, that is also that is Bernard Olila, youth chairperson, not forgetting also the Mr. Jadibayo Odongo, the color FDC, also the mobilizer in there. And this is something also we did see happening, and they were officially welcome to UPC during a mobilization rally. That is also at Gwechima Primary School, that's also in Dokolo Town Council, which happened on also May this month, a few days ago. And that's something I must also remind and also must inform you that these matters continue to happen. But I don't know what exactly this means also to the parties CAM 2026, because we are also been talking about those. And then definitely I must also inform you that these matters continue to happen, and given the fact also as these people continue to cross, and I must also, I'm of a great feeling that this definitely will be able to have an impact. That is also CAM 2026. I don't know how, maybe positively or negatively, but definitely we also look forward to also very soon bringing one of the political analysts to also analyze what is happening within the political parties as we also continue to go on with the show. And now let's look at what is happening, where also we did see a woman killed by a mob in Lira. This is still within Lango sub-region following the death of the husband in there, and this is something also which is on a kind sword note, but really we are saying people must avoid issues of taking the laws into their hands, because if you cannot taking the laws into your hands, definitely we are going to be seeing such issues also already continuing to happen in their Scream Saturday. That's the sleepy routine that is of our Romo Town Council, as Susan Achen, the mayor's wife, also stumbled out of her home. A first mark also of terror, the news also already spread like wildfire, where Robert Odongo, the beloved mayor, was dead, where his body also suffered a stack also already beneath their marital bed, and that's something we did see happening in there. And Emmanuel Odongto, a local leader, arrived seeking a loan from the mayor, attends also frantic also denial of her husband's presence. The mother also emerging as a result of mob action, but really we continue to ask people to also avoid such instances. And that's also something where we are saying these issues must be avoided, must also not continue to go on, because these matters definitely also jeopardize security operations. And now moving on from that, let's now see where Chagulanyi's bodyguards have been accused of assaulting journalists and also damaging the cameras in there. This is something also where we are seeing a disturbing incident where it occurred massacre on Saturday, where also the bodyguards of Robert Chagulanyi Center, who commonly known as Bobby Wine, assaulted several journalists and destroyed their cameras. And this is something also we did see happening. And the incident, according to what we are receiving this early morning, also indicates that Chagulanyi was attending the burial of late Pascal in there. And this is also something we did talk about earlier on. And next media's Zainab Namsaz Sengendo was actually among those physically confronted in the ugly incident. And that's something we did see, where Bobby Wine is also the security led by also head, that's Ed Mtue, intervened and stopped also the rowdy fellas also of one of them also called Achileo Chivumbi, who was not yet done and also yanked off the lens of that Miss Sengendo, also the camera in there. But really what we are saying is that people must avoid issues of taking the laws into their hands. If at all really these matters must also be done. And the physical confrontation left some journalists with minor injuries, and there we also significant damage also to what we call also the equipment in that including cameras and other recording devices that also really happened in there. Ms. Kayondo described the scene as chaotic and also unwanted in there. Mr. Chagulanyi, Mr. Chagulanyi Robert, the president of the national platform, also is yet also to issue a statement regarding also the actions of these people, maybe these supporters who are maybe the suspected members of his party in there. Mr. Chagulanyi, also the president, must not be able to go on in this way because journalists are doing their work, and this is also what also the constitution allows them to do. Because if at all maybe you feel they are not going to be doing something that is against your wish, definitely avoid doing bad things in public. So that's also when journalists are covering you, they also maybe focus on what is good, because what we are saying is at the end of the day we want to see these fights also being avoided, because if at all these fights are not avoided, and then definitely so many lives may be able to be lost at the end of the day, because we do not want to see journalists also lives lost, because they are there to ensure that each and every person is informed, and what they are doing is within the law, which also must be respected in there. And that is also what brings us to the end of the first quarter, the first quarter of our second hour in there. We are just 30 minutes after 8 o'clock, and it is a great pleasure having you on board watching us this morning. And this is the Kokoliriko live show on Western Television, channel 477 StarTimes. Those who are watching us across the dish and online, we are also really there across all our social media platforms, and that is why we are saying you must be part of the show each and every morning. And in a special way, allow me appreciate that is Toha Wacheme, an ardent viewer of the show each and every day. He is always plugged into the show, and just like Toha, you also could be able to maybe become maybe a supporter and a great fan of the show, and we shall be able to solely appreciate you in a special way in there. But for now, let's have this short commercial breather, and we shall be continuing with the show later on.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
For Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors, Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024. True Ugandan Beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial breather. We are just some few minutes now to wind up with the show, but allow me remind you of some of the stories that are now continuing to happen on the show as well. Now, this morning we also seeing stories about Uganda Cancer Institute gearing up for excellence with the National Referral also lab being launched in there, and this is already quite good because we have seen so many people today dying as a result of cancer in there. But now with the establishment of the research lab, I believe this is already where we are going to be having early screenings of the disease, so that is already cases where people have been often dying as a result of late screening can't be avoided in there. But now the Uganda Cancer Institute, or that is East Africa's leading oncology center, is also really making significant strides. That is also really that is to improve its diagnostic capabilities. That's also where a key in this facility must also be recognized very soon, because so many of the people continue to die as a result of cancer today, and this is where we are saying this matter also really must be addressed, so that also really nobody is also really left out to die as a result of cancer, because so many people have died as a result of cancer. And this is already where we are saying we expect this facility, first of all, to be recognized internationally, and also if at all such facilities are established across the country, that would also be quite well, because we are seeing so many people today dying as a result of cancer, and cancer has also remained cancer. And this is where we are saying that disease, because doctors have also often told us that if this disease is detected early, people can also be able to treat it there. And that is why we are saying these facilities, just like maybe the establishment of the regional centers, this research lab also should be established across the country, so that already people can be able to get their results within also the areas also already where they are residing in there. This is also within the regional centers, and that would also be quite well. And Uganda faces a significant burden of cancer, with over 300,000 new cases diagnosed annually, and the Uganda Cancer Institute department also alone sees more than 2,000 new patients each year, and that's also something we are seeing now happening in there. And to address the growing challenge, the Uganda Cancer Institute not only also enhancing its own capacity,